Good morning. Today is 8th September. We are the second class or maybe third class, I think, the third class of compiler constructions. So if you have any questions, you can always put in the WhatsApp group because I am taking the whole window. I'll request one of you, can you be Anirban please, so that you can just put your voice mode. If it is visible, I am visible and audible. No, I am just audible, not visible, because I
Yes, sir,
am
you are audible.
fine, excellent. Actually, the why it is late, I must explain to students because I am not depending on the recording of the Google, so I am using my third-party recording. Yes, please make all your microphone off, please. Thank you. Yes, because I do not want to depend on the Google Meeting recording, so I am using my third-party recording. So if I initiate the call from my laptop, the problem if you the recording mode, so then my third-party recording cannot access the video devices. That is one of the reason I gave one of you the responsibility, but he or she is fully responsible. He or she has done the his or her job excellently well. But anything delay, it is it is for my fault. So he or she is initiated this. He or she created a link. Then I put the link to you. The only objective is to to get it recorded, and recording should be done by third party because it's much better. I found, and it is within our control, because if it is done in the this mode, our Google Meet inbuilt mode, that will be available maybe 15 days, and if we do not buy the original software till now, till on trial mode, we might not lose it. So that is one of the reasons, bit delay. No issue, you can always read and all these things. I am getting some of your questions. First thing first, this is the lexicon analyzer. This is the first portion of any compiler. This is the easiest part, of the compiler. Why I am telling easiest part? Because its job is not syntax checking. It's just get the tokens out of it. If you take your C program, if you see the C program, the first line is hash include standard.io.h. That hash include standard.io.h, it is not a programming, that you probably all know. This is the compiler directives like hash include or if and def or micro. These are compiler directives. So before any compiler, there is a preprocessor. So they take out the compiler directives, and the rest of the program, whenever it comes to the rest of the program, say int, main, and all these things, it will go to the lexicon analyzer, and lexicon analyzer give a token to it, like this like say this sentence, while the while will be only a token, only one token, not w. Or if I say the while one, then the your lexicon analyzer will take it as a variable. While it is not taken variable, because while is a keyword. So there are around 26 or 27 keywords. They are act like your finite FSA, our regular language is a token. This while is a single token. It is this is basically a string. It consists of token. So while is a token. This opening break, it is a token. I is a token. Greater than is a token. 0 is token. This end bracket is token. These are all token, even semicolon. And if you see,
Sir?
yes, you can ask.
Sorry to interrupt, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, are you presenting anything?
Are you?
Presenting anything, sir?
Oh, it is not visible. I am extremely sorry.
No.
Sorry. Yeah, good. You must. Anirban, thank you very much. I am presenting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Anirban, it is visible? Anirban, a PPT first slide is visible?
No, sir, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. I'm just trying it. Anyone, this is visible?
Yes, sir, yes.
Thank you. So anytime any issue, please your microphone on and this. So just starting again. Today we are presenting the lexical analyzer first. This is the box of the lexical analyzer. This is you can say it is the first stage, but before that is a preprocessor is there. What is the job of preprocessor of a compiler or any interpreter? Takes out the pre-compiler directives. What are the compiler directives? Like hash include standard.h or any macro definition. So these are the job of the lexical analyzer, if any programming instruction like this, to make it in a tokenized form. Like here while is a token, and if I say somehow I misspelled it while one, then while one will not be a token. It will be it is a token and it will be taken as a variable. Why? Because it is not a keyword then. So while is a while, if, int, float. These are the around 26 keywords in C language. They are taken as a token. If you say the regular language or any context-free language, these are called the terminals. These are called terminals, and these terminals are together that it makes a sentence. But later on we will find the sentence is basically a program unit. A program may consist of several kinds of lines. So that S is the start symbol. That is, the whole program is the start symbol. It consists of several lines. So you can take it as a is a concatenation of more variables. So if we take this one, so the job of the lexical analyzer is to make it as many as tokens, not as many, actual number of tokens. Like while is a token, opening break is a token, I is a token. So they take as a token and put this token where a particular data structure that is called symbol table, and that symbol table will be heavily used by all the subsequent stages of compiler. The last day we have found, and the main beauty of lexical analysis is the simplest one. And what kind of machine we can employ for it? Anyone can put your microphone on and tell me. Anyone, what kind of machine? Whether it's there's how many machines you know? One is finite state machine, another is push down automata, another is non-deterministic push down automata, then linear bounded automata, then comes the Turing machine, then a non-deterministic Turing machine. These are called machines, and so anyone can put your microphone on and try to answer this one. My question is simple. This lexical analyzer is the first stage of compiler. If not only first stage, maybe second stage. The initial stage is the pre-compiler. This pre-compiler job is to take out the pre-compiler directives like include standard io.h, macro definition, and all this. So is it visible? My audio is visible. My audio is audible and my screen is visible. Okay, Anirban?
Yes,
Anirban? Okay, fine. So what my question is, anyone can answer. What is this kind of machine? What is the machine? How many machines? Finite state machine, push down automata. Which kind of machine it can be? Yes, I am waiting for your answer, please. Any try? Any try? This is a machine. This is a program, and also program when it runs on a CPU we call it a process, and then a process we can call it a machine. So what kind of machine it is? You try anything. Anything you can try. Anyone? Nisha, you can try. Nisha, are you hearing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What is this machine? Is what can be this machine?
Sir, deterministic finite automata. Sir.
Yes.
I
Any
don't
other?
have
Yeah. Any other try? Any other try? Anyone? Or I
No,
think
sir.
Akash has to ask several questions. Akash, what kind of machine it is? Anirban, what kind of machine it is?
Sir, most probably deterministic finite automata.
Deterministic. Not most probably. It is everybody has
finite
correct.
state machine.
Yes, but why finite state machine? If I put a push down automata, what is the problem in it? Who is answering? Nisha has told the correct, Anirban is told the correct, but they are not so confident. My question is, I ask to anybody else here, why you are not confident? Why? Which kind of machine it will be? It is a finite state machine. It is a finite state machine. But if I put a push down automata, what is harm in it? And if I use a Turing machine, much more powerful machine, what is the harm of it? I try to just try to answer this one. What Nisha Anirban told half-heartedly, it is a finite state machine. It is absolutely a finite state machine. But my question is, why not push down automata? Why not Turing machine? Yes. Now try to answer. Anyone? Anyone can microphone on and answer. Anirban,
Don't know, sir.
any try? Akash, any try? Yes? Try to answer. Or otherwise say no. That will do. Oriyatri, are you here? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What have you understood my question? The question is, it is a finite state machine. Yes, it is a finite state machine, and finite state machine is enough for it. Why? Because it will not detect any say opening braces, closing braces, whether the opening braces are matching with closing braces. This job is only to get token. So this lexicon analyzer will not check whether the bracket begins and ends it with 1. It will not check. That would be checked by which stage? That would be checked by the syntax analyzer, which comes later. Okay. The lexical analyzer duty is to get a token for opening braces, to get a token for closing braces. If I put an extra opening braces, definitely that program is wrong, but that would not be detected by lexicon analyzer. So most of the cases, 99% of the cases, we do not want to have lexicon analyzer and syntax analyzer together. So lexicon analyzer is the simplest of the simplest thing. We will just use a finite state machine, FSM, to get the token only. So that is the answer. If I put the push down automata, no harm in it, but the stack portion would not be used, so that is a wastage. If I use the Turing machine to it, that will be a wastage. So that is the reason we use the finite state machine here. The finite state machine can see any pattern. Say if in a variable name will come, we know the variable name will start with, like say this is the I is a variable name. So if I say here 1 I, if I say 1 I, that will not be a variable name. The variable name which must start with a ASCII character, then any number of ASCII character and the new number. That is basically expressed by which expression? You all know, regular expression. So any you know the how to create a regular expression. Regular expression doesn't check only the star operator. They don't want how many types, whether it's a n operator or this, it is a star operator. So regular expression is enough to give a declaration of variable name. So I need only a finite state machine to get it token. I don't need push down automata and Turing machine here. So this is the simplest stage. It gets a token string, and this token which is comes out, I will put it in a symbol table, and the symbol table, what are the contents of the symbol table? Not only the tokens and whether which type of variables it is, whether it is a static variable, whether it's a global, whether then which kind of functions, what kind of function, what is the return type, everything about the information will be stored there, and that would be checked after lexicon analysis. You know, the syntax analysis, that is we will try to cover as quickly as possible. That is one of the toughest part. So that's it. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, this is the next slide. This is the lexicon analyzer. This is the first phase of a compiler. You can call it a analysis phase and then call the synthesis phase. This analysis phase is what are the source program we are getting it here. We get out of all the macro statement. So that is called the pre-compiler directives and put the other program into it. And whatever the actions to be taken, you put it onto it. Then the lexicon analyzer, you employ only finite state machine. We know why we will finite state machine, because we get the very simple kind of machine with no stack, so that we can detect the variables, we can detect the floating point number, integer, whether character or boolean, all these things, and pull this all into symbol table. Symbol table, it can be basically a table. It is data structure. It can be, for a small program, it can be a array, simple array, or but array, you know, the to finding any element in array complexity is O(n). So that is not good. So we try to get it to find it any element in the symbol table to O(1). So then we will use the hash table. Hash table, the advantage will be the every name should be hashed, and we can find it by O(1). And we may have several symbol tables as per the scope of this thing. So this is an interesting area. This is one of the assignments to be given to you. It is, you try to find out what would be the symbols table structure in kind of a C program, in kind of C++, in kind of Java, each kind of Python. Because of Python, you know, your white spaces is act as your punctuation mark, not semicolon. So the symbol tables are very interesting, and they generally hashed, and there may be parts of symbol table. Now it is come the parser. The parser, we have several kinds of parser. One is top-down parser, one is bottom-up parser. Parser, generally we human beings, whenever we read English language or Bengali language, we always start reading from left to right. Can you cite any other language when you can start from not left to right? What is it? Say Urdu. It is right to left. So that is, few languages are there, and some language, probably I heard in Chinese and Japanese, it is from bottom to top. Am I correct? I think Japanese script is there. So this parser, it is, but we generally left to right, most of the languages, but for computer it is better to parse from right to left. Okay. So that is one thing. We hear from top-down parsing. We generally go for top-down parsing. From top, what is top-down? Top-down is your initial rules of context-free grammar is there. Then you might ask, why sir you are taking context-free grammar? What is the problem of only the regular grammar? See, regular grammar or finite state machine is here to get the tokens only. But your source program, it must not be regular grammar. Why? You can ask why. Anybody can answer? My question is clear. My question is, this lexicon analyzer, it is done by a finite state machine and it creates the token, but your source program, it can be regular language, it can be context free language, it can be context sensitive language. So all it can be, or it a combination. But most of the 99% cases, it will not be regular grammar, it might be a context free grammar. That is my question. I'd be happy if someone can try and answer, anyone. Even if it is partially correct, is no issue. It is an interactive class, so my question is that. I'll ask somebody else. Yes, try. Debomoy Banerjee, can you speak on this? Annesha De, Debarati Odhikari, Atrey, Debolina Bhanjo. Debolina, can you try my question, or if you are not clear, I can put my question again. Hello, anyone? Yes, yes. I am getting voice. Please, one. Oishi Mojumdar, are you here? Nisha must be there. My question is clear to you. This question, my question is why it will not be regular grammar? Why? Akash Banerjee, Anirban, are you getting my voice? Is the screen visible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Anirban, my question is clear. You try to answer. Answer is if 99% cases this will not be regular grammar. Why? Because we all programs in opening braces and closing braces. Opening braces and closing braces must be there, and that type of language is called parenthesis grammar or a to the power n b to the power n language. So that is the context free grammar. Okay, that is the context free grammar. So that is the source program will be always 99% cases which is the context free grammar. Have you got the answer, please? Any doubt, please? Yeah, is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No, I want to see. Full class is there, very good. Just a minute. Yeah, is the screen visible, Anirban? Anirban, screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so my question is the source program 99% case it will not be regular grammar because all programming languages must have functions and repeated functions call, so it must have parenthesis and rested parenthesis, and parenthesis has to be matched. So it will be parenthesis grammar, and it should be a to the power n b to the power n grammar, and it is also a context free grammar. You know there are two types of context free grammar. One is deterministic context free grammar, another is non-deterministic context free grammar. So deterministic context free grammar is detected by a push down automata, deterministic push down automata, and non-deterministic context free grammar can be done by non-deterministic push down automata. Example of deterministic push down automata is like a to the power n b to the power n. Why I am calling a deterministic push down automata? Why I am calling this a to the power n b to the power n? Why it is I call it the deterministic push down automata? Because when a to the power n means a number of a's are coming, then I put every a onto the stack. I put every a onto the stack, and when the b coming, then I take off the a, and for every b I pop the a. So when the stack is finished, then I say the language is accepted. So our parenthesis is always match. Opening parenthesis and closing parenthesis should match. So whenever we will get the parenthesis open or any function, we will put it onto the stack, and when the closing parenthesis will go. So that is all 99% all the programming languages are deterministic context free grammar. And what is the example of non-deterministic context free grammar? Say example of WWR. What is WWR? Say any string, say one string is ABC, and AB and WR say CBA. So how to determine which is the midpoint? So you take randomly, you take 3 try, and 1 try it will be detected. So it is called non-deterministic context free grammar. So it is very difficult to realize, it is impossible to create the non-deterministic context-free machine. Maybe in quantum computing that can be done, I am not very sure. So, all practical purposes, all our machines are deterministic finite state machine or deterministic push down automata or deterministic Turing machine, all are deterministic. For because non-deterministic means all machines have exponential of exponential instantiation, and exponential instantiation means lots of hardware and it is not realizable. So, all source program must be in deterministic context free grammar, and this source program is put to a lexicon analyzer not for syntax analysis, to get just token, put it to a symbol table, and then this token will be analyzed by a parser to get its tree. What is the tree? Tree is nothing but how from the source code, so source symbols, the ultimate this string is generated. The parser will try to figure it out, that particular parse tree. If the parse tree become double, so it is then you call the ambiguous grammar. So that type of grammar will not accept. So our objective will be the parser should give only a one kind of parse tree. So that is guaranteed by deterministic some subset of deterministic context free grammar. Some deterministic context free grammar can generate ambiguous grammar. So you probably go to your earlier books and see what is ambiguous grammar and what is unambiguous grammar. Ambiguous grammar means it can be generated the same sentence by two different parse tree. So that is not acceptable for computer. The computers will be acceptable only generate the single meaning. So that is the parser. Parser is top down. Generally we humans are parsing by mentally top down, but computer is very different from human. So computers bottom up is better, and computer generally parse it from the right hand to left hand side, and we humans from left hand side to right hand side we go for the top down, and the computers go for bottom up. But we'll teach you both top down parsing and bottom up parsing, what are the difference, and there are several kinds of top down parsing, there are several kinds of bottom up parsing. Then it will be a tree. This is called the analysis portion of the compiler, and this is the first phase of compiler. Then calls the synthesis portion of compiler. Then the job of the compiler is to create the executable code on a machine, and there are lots of optimization would go on, but anywhere the symbol table will be always required. The symbol table you can say is the basic heart of the compiler. It will be filled up by lexicon analyzer, and it will be used by parser and the other next stages of the compiler. So my question starts with that source program must be a unambiguous deterministic context free grammar. It may contain some regular grammar, but generally it should be unambiguous deterministic context free grammar. Why? Because until and unless you have a deterministic context free grammar, you cannot write function, because your function means you have to repeatedly call that function. Any useful program by repeatedly useful function, and it must have opening braces, closing braces. Am I too slow or anything you find it difficult? Please, anyone have microphone and please speak it to me. Anyone had anything to suggest it? Should I go for a faster? Should I go for a slower? Please. Yes, Anirban or Neha or Atrey, anyone, or Akash? Please make your microphone on and please speak once. Yes, I am waiting for you. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello. What's your name, please?
Yes, sir. Akash Banerjee.
Akash, anything you have not understood?
No, sir. It's fine actually. You are going quite well, sir.
Okay, fine. Any suggestion?
Yes,
Anywhere you are stuck, then you just say I have a question. Okay, anyone. Okay, you can put a question.
Sure.
Okay,
Yes,
and otherwise it will be it is like giving a lecture to a deaf and dumb.
Yes, sir. It should be a dialogue.
Yeah. Always dialogue is
Yes,
always
sir.
preferred, but not too much dialogue. That's it.
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So this is this screenshot I have told. I only go up to this portion. This is the portion in the earlier graph. This is the source code, all the pre-compilers, then the lexicon analyzer. This lexicon analyzer, it is done by a regular language. It is done by a finite state machine, but its input can be, and it would be generally deterministic context-free grammar. So this is a little bit of paradox. The lexicon analyzer is always a finite state machine, and finite state machine you can see it everywhere. Say in our C block lift. C block lift is what is the machine? It is a finite state machine. And why it is finite state machine? But it cannot remember in the morning which floor it has traveled if it doesn't have a RAM. It just remember whether it has gone to first floor or 7th floor or 6th floor. You remember the sequence. If you press, whenever you press 3, ever it is going up. If you press 2, it will not go 2, it will go up and then come again. So it remembers for temporary, but it cannot remember beyond a stage. So this is a finite state machine. So our lift, but there is several machines. Most of the mechanical machines which are very useful are finite state machine. And same way, this lexical analyzer is a finite state machine. It can do a great job. Say your TCP/IP communication, whenever you are connecting to your internet, our HTTP protocol, again a finite state machine. It doesn't remember. Okay. In case of HTTPS, it is also a kind of finite state machine. So all our internet traffic is finite state machine model. It is not a context-free grammar, all this, because then it will be slower. So internet is a prime example of finite state machine. Same is the lexicon analyzer. Then you might ask question, what would be the syntax analyzer? See, syntax analyzer, it cannot be a regular language, because you need at least that complexity. Say if you say if the two persons are there, say I am a very simple person, say for the sake of reason, I am not very simple, I am a very simple person, and say if another simple person, I can understand. See, if I am a simple person, another person is complex, I might fail. But if I can handle complex mood, another person is simple, I can. If the another person is complex, I can. So that's the reason the syntax analyzer must be done by a deterministic context-free grammar, so that it actually get the syntax out of it and checked it, whether you have given semicolon, whether you have given the syntax check. What is the, it doesn't go to the semantic check. What is semantic check? Whether you have converted to real to integer, whether you are calling a array with a real value. Say if you want to say array 1.2, no meaning. So syntax analyzer will ignore, semantic analyzer will flag an error. So syntax analyzer just check the syntax, whether you have a correct number of opening parentheses or closing parentheses, and whether you have a semicolon, whether you have integer declaration properly, whether function declaration properly, but it doesn't go into the program, it doesn't go into the check whether what things you are meant to be, that is not good. That is the job of syntax analyzer. So we generally get lots of errors, we got it syntax analyzer. If there are no errors in syntax analyzer, but your program gives some error, then it might be your understanding of your writing the program. That is the job of a syntax analyzer, to help you out. Okay. So the syntax analyzer for all subsequent part are written in again a context-free language, deterministic context-free language, not non-deterministic context-free language. So till now, any question please, or otherwise say no question. Yes. Yes. Akash, Oriyatri, Nisha, I missed some name, Atrey. Yes. Please. Any question? Yes, any question please? Debamoy? Debaroti?
No, sir.
No question. Atrey? Atrey is there? Ditipriya? Ashutosh? Ovik, Biplab, Otri Chakraborty.
Yes, sir.
Otri Chakraborty, are you here? Any question? Okay. Any question you can tell. Okay. So this is the thing. The same way, another graph. The lexical analysis. Some books you can find it is called scanner. Okay. And some books the token is called the lexeme. Okay. So basically they are same. Scanner and lexical analyzer are the same. Lexeme and token are the same word. These are the parser. This is the highest next stage. Lexical analysis scanning. This is I have already told. So tokens are sequence of characters with collective meaning. There are usually small number of tokens like constants, and I have punctuation, reserved word. That I have told. So this is the again we are still in the analysis phase. Analysis phase consists of our syntax, symbol table. Here the symbol table generates syntax, and then the semantic, syntax semantics ends, and then the backend generating the code. This is also a very highly interesting area. But the most of the questions in your all syllabus will come here. So this portion is very important. Yeah. So sometimes people can ask question, what is the difference between scanning and parsing? Scanning only create the tokens, and parsing it see the what are the symbols it is coming, whether it create a tree, the parsing tree should be unique. That parsing tree cannot be double meaning thing. So sometimes we language we use the double meaning words. So we generally talks in a type 0 language. You all know the type 3 language is the regular languages. You cannot have a double meaning words, double meaning sentences. Same for deterministic context free grammar. Most of the deterministic context free grammar is a unique parsing tree, and that is the only useful thing for programming languages. That gives the repeated function calls with opening braces, closing braces. So you need always a push down automata, you need a machine with a stack. So parsing does this. This all I have already told right now. This is regular expression, like any integer you can always express with, it starts with a number and it is ends with a number. And if it's a variable, it must starts with a variable, one ASCII character, and it can go on any number and variable. So parsing, you know, the context free grammar, it should be deterministic context free grammar. This is two types of parsing. I have already told top down and bottom up. First we will touch top down is easier to express, and if you have to understood, but actually the all computers programs are using bottom up parsing. Top down parsing is generally we human doing from left to right, and bottom up parser is from right to left. And okay, and say try to get the match the ultimately the parsing is to get the how to reach the source symbol by which path, and you should draw the path, and this is the output parser tree. This is the output of the parser. Yeah, so these things we already covered. This is the formal language theory. This is concerned to your last semester. It is very good that you are exposed to compiler. It's a good change of syllabus. So just your quick knowledge of automata. You know the grammars. Grammars takes care of your language. What is a language? Language, like we talk in a colloquial language. But what is formal language? Formal language means it has some formal rules. Okay, that is called formal language. So all programming languages must be a formal language. But formal languages can be various type. Type 3. What is type 3? Type 3 language is left hand side only a single variable, right hand side a single terminal, or a single terminal, or right side another variable. That is called which type of regular language is called right linear grammar. Okay. Then another type of grammar is left hand side a single variable, right hand side starts with a variable, only one variable, and ends with a terminal. We call it a left linear grammar. So, what is the basic thing of regular grammar is that left hand side will be always a single variable, right hand side the variable may at the first, that is called left linear grammar, or at the end, that is called a right linear grammar. But if we have a both the rules, we can say it is a not a linear grammar, we call it a deterministic context free grammar. What is context free grammar? But context free grammar is same as the regular grammar. The left hand side variable should be always a single person, single, and the right hand side any string can be. Any combinations, and then next, that is called the that is type 2 language. Type 2 language has two parts, that is a deterministic context free grammar and non-deterministic context free grammar. Non-deterministic context free grammar is very difficult to parse. So in programming languages we do not use them, and next comes the context sensitive grammar. Why we call the context sensitive? Because the left hand side variable can be accompanied by any variable or any terminal. So that is the reason we call context sensitive grammar. The typical string output is a to the power n, b to the power n, c to the power n, and when in the type 2 languages, the typical typical string is a to the power n, b to the power n, and type 3 language, regular grammar, the typical language is a b to the power n or a to the power n b. Okay, anything I have understood? I'll show you in the PowerPoint slides. Yeah. So this is the grammar takes care of your the instruction part, and automata takes care of the how to execute that instruction. They should be hand in hand. So there should be matching grammar and with matching automata. So grammar means this all grammar portion is single-handedly developed by which scientist? It is still he is a living hero, is a Noam Chomsky. The grammar portion is a two stalwarts are there. Grammar portion is single-handed, almost single-handed by Noam Chomsky, and right hand side is another great gentleman, that is our British scientist. Okay, who is that British scientist? Can anybody can name, please? Alan Turing. This portion is more or less developed by Alan Turing. He is the main contributor, and this is the Noam Chomsky. Yeah. Any question till now? Yes. This is a Chomsky's hierarchy. This is all low. These are type 0 grammar. This is very difficult to parse. We generally the regular grammar and our context free grammar, all programming languages by context free grammar. In fact, subpart 2. Left hand side will be a single variable. Right hand side should be any type of symbols. So there are two part, deterministic context free and non-deterministic. Context sensitive type 1 and type 0 grammar, we seldom use programming languages because the parsing should be huge amount of time. Anyway, our parsing should be O(n). Complexity, if you have n symbols, the complexity should be O(n). It cannot be O(n) cube, but in context free grammar it can be O(n) cube. So that portion we try to avoid. We try to make it simpler by deterministic context free grammar. We choose that type of grammar which can be parsed by O(n), and that is how many times we have intelligent parsing techniques, various techniques, and if you modify the grammar rules, so it can be a deterministic context free grammar, and by sophisticated parsing techniques like bottom-up parsing. Bottom-up is the best one. We should be able to parsing O(n), because if you think it's O(n) cube, then you give a command at your mobile or at your desktop, it will take 1 hour. That is not acceptable. We all see, if it is a 10 lines program, it will take say 1 minute. If it is 1,000 lines, it might take half an hour. So that is okay, but if it is takes 1,000 lines programs takes 10 hours, that is not at all acceptable. So the all programming languages should be parsing efficiency should be O(n), not O(n) cube. Okay. Any question you can please tell me. So this is the grammar. So our programming languages comes here. It is not regular, it is beyond regular, but this area, deterministic context free language, this is the area. All our programming languages, even Java, C, C++, all are there. Yeah, this is finance regular. This is all you know. This is all you know. This is our programming language again come here, deterministic. Okay, and these are very tough. Still the people are working on it, but it is tough. Here another way you can see, this is the deterministic context language example, a to the power n, b to the power n, deterministic. This is this area, all our programming language. And what is the non-deterministic context? Like palindrome. Say you have a palindrome language, like any palindrome you see, lots of palindromes are there. So that is not acceptable by detection. It is not possible, because for palindrome detection you need a non-deterministic position automata. It is not possible. And another tough grammar is WWR grammar. That is a context sensitive grammar. That is much tougher. So we will try. We have to be aware of this, but all our parsing will be here. Any questions, please, till now? Any question? Any question, please? Please make your microphone on, one of you. Microphone on and question, please. Okay. Okay. Please, anybody want to answer, please? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Are you getting any question, please?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. I think I think I should stop, and I repeat, because it is 12:41, because I have another class, and you also, I think, overshoot. You have also. At what time your class is? Yes. So I just repeat summary things. Whatever I have done today, as quickly summarize. Otherwise, hold this thing. We start today here. Screen is visible, please. Please, screen is visible. Hello, Anirban?
Yes,
yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, because my next class is waiting for me. Today what we have done, we have done nothing much. We have done what is the compiler. What is the first stage of compiler? The first stage is compiler lexicon analyzer, and lexicon analyzer must be, you can say it can be a complex thing. It can be, I can make lexicon analyzer and syntax analyzer together. That will be powerful, but 99% case this is not done, because we have to do simple things first, simple first. So lexical analyzer is a generally separate part, and it is done by a finite state machine. It is much quicker. Its job is to get the tokens only, nothing else. What are the tokens? Tokens are nothing but the keywords of a programming languages and the variables. And how to detect variable? With a regular expression. How to, your regular expression can be put into practice by a finite state machine. So all this lexical analyzer, it is done by a finite state machine, and there is a tool, it is called Lex, which is available in Unix. So this is a task that you can try a Lex to write a lexical analyzer for any languages. So this is lexical analyzer, and this is the first part, and then comes the next part. It is the parser. This is the very interesting part, and here it is basically all program. The source program must be a deterministic context-free grammar. It can be regular language, then the parsing would be very easy. And if it is, because then there will be no function call, no repeated function call, no opening braces, closing braces. But you know, in a C languages, you at least have one opening brace, one closing brace. You have to match that brace. So for any useful program, it must be a deterministic context-free program. So it cannot be regular languages. Okay. So to check at least one opening brace, one closing brace, you need a parser. The parser is also a program, but whenever the program running is a machine, we call a process. This process takes the tokens and the whole line and try to get it out, figure it out, the syntax tree, try to get it out the tree, if it gets the arrays of tokens, then it try to match the tokens how it can be generated from the start symbol. Where is the start symbol? Start symbol is nothing but your main program unit. The main program unit generates a number of lines. The number of lines is nothing but a consists of token, a linear array of tokens, and the tokens is being done by lexical analyzer, and the parser job is to get the tokens and try to get the meaning of how the tokens can be generated by the start symbols. If it get its only single tree, by both it can be done. It can be from left to right scanning or right to left scanning of the symbol. If it comes to a single tree, you are okay. But if it's a left to right one tree, a right to left same tree, that is okay. That means the same tree. But if it's a left to right one tree, a right to left another tree, tree structure is different. That means a double meaning thing. So that is not acceptable. So parser does only this portion. It gets the tokens and it try to get the syntax tree. If the syntax tree is unique, then it goes to the next stage, that's called the semantic analysis, and all this comes under the analysis portion of the analysis portion of the compiler. Okay, so any question, remaining question, I'll take that question. And these notes and all these things will be available to you within few minutes or within few hours. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Then lot of things to be done. I just check. This portion I have covered. This portion covered. This portion covered. This portion. It is the earlier semester question. Last one thing I just to cover you. Let's see. I just try to do this one. This one I just. This is a typical question asks. An alternative term of lexical analyzer is scanner, parser, push-down automata, all of this. The answer is scanner. So lexical analyzer or scanner is the same thing. This is one question. This is another question. Why do you care if a grammar is ambiguous? A different semantic meaning is associated with different parse tree. That is the meaning of ambiguous. That is absolutely no for programming languages. So this is the answer of this MCQ is a different semantic meaning. How do you know it is different semantic meaning? When you get the tree. Where do you get the tree? After only a syntax tree, that your output is a tree. The tree absolutely should be same. If it's a different tree, that means it's the ambiguous grammar. It is not acceptable. Okay. Next another question. Lexical analysis is separated from syntax analysis because the lexical analysis is less complex. Because it's the easiest, so we make it a separate stage altogether. It's the fastest, quickest, less complex. These are the tokens of the lexical analysis that I have covered last day. These are the keywords. These are the non-tokens. I just remember these are this comment lines will not go into the. These are the non-tokens, the pre-compiler directives. These are the non-tokens. These things can be detected like if, num. It can be by your finite state machine or regular expression. You know how this is regular expression. This is already I have covered. This is your, and this is the symbol table. This is the heart of the table. These things I already covered. The interesting thing I come here. Just 1 minute. Last day I have covered the difference between compiler and interpreter. It will be there. You just check it. The one question will come, and this is the one of the toughest area of the compiler, that is parsing. After the syntax analysis, you get the tokens. If there is some error, you might get error for syntax analysis stage. You know, whenever you run the GCC compiler, there are two kinds of parsing. One is top-down parsing, one is bottom-up parsing. Top-down parsing we cover first. it is much easier. Next day I will try to cover a little bit of top down. This is and this is the bottom up parsing, and this is the commonest parsing LALR. This is the commonest parsing using all our Java or Python programmer. So one small task you can do as a practice. So how to create, how to the symbol table of get the symbol tables of C program, your Java program, and you can analyze what kind of parsing techniques of your popular languages. Okay. Any questions I can take right now? Any questions? Anirban, Nisha, Oreo3 or anyone? Akash? Who are there? Yes, any question? Okay. Thank you very much then. We end the session here. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you.